As always, because it's me having technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, so I sent you the request. Oh, here we go. Hi. Can you hear me?
Much better. That was way too complicated.
I know. I know you don't do this.
I'm a little new to it.
Yeah. Well, is this your first live video?
This is, as a matter of fact, yes. Yes.
Look
at
I
that.
got you to do it.
Look at that.
Incredible. Guys, Seth Macfarlane here. His first live video. So we worked together. Work? Yeah, we worked together years and years ago. The first time was on TED. The first
That's
TED.
Right.
And then Family Guy. Exciting.
Yeah.
Do you see all the questions coming up?
Yeah. So do I read these questions?
No, you don't have to.
Okay, I'll completely ignore them.
When
you have questions.
Yeah. Last
okay,
minute,
good.
we were texting earlier today, and I didn't know if I could do this, and he was free. And then, anyway, we got it. You're here. You've got like 10 minutes.
Yes.
So we can just do some stupid questions.
Sure. Hit me.
What's for dinner?
What is for dinner? These days it's really whatever we can get our hands on.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, the other night it was granola. So I think.
That's what I just had.
I think, yeah, it's there's never a bad time for granola.
I know you're busy even when you're in quarantine. Are you staying sane? Are you healthy?
Yes. Yeah. I think the important thing is, obviously, look, it's very taxing on everyone, but I think the important thing is to stay as busy as you can and try to stay creative. I think breaking up the day with different types of activities is key. I mean, for me, I try to do as much writing as I can.
Yeah.
I think watching movies and television is great. If you can mix that up with other activities, then I think you're not going to fall into a rut. I think the thing is, this is very new to all of us, so we're all kind of guessing our way through how to handle all of this, and for every person it's different. For me, I've just found that the more I keep my mind occupied and busy, then the better I feel.
Of course, and it's also an opportunity for you to get ahead because you have such a busy schedule. Now you can perhaps get ahead on writing for Orville, which is the show you have on now, which is incredible.
That's right. Thank you for that plug.
Plus, you don't need me to plug your shit, but I'm doing it anyway. You've also got like a million other shows on. What show that you have produced or been a part of that you are the most proud of? What would that be?
The very, very hard question. For me, look, obviously Family Guy is sort of the mothership that enables so many of the other projects to exist in the first place. For me, the Orville has been probably the greatest labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that I'm very proud of, and it's because it's such a departure from things that I've done in the past. And
I wanted to ask you, not to interrupt, but what was it like transitioning from being behind the camera and producing and voice work that you've done to being in front of the camera? The first time you did that was A Million Ways to Die, right?
Right. Yeah. It was very challenging. I like to take on projects that scare me a little bit. I find that if I work too long in one type of endeavor, that it becomes a little bit unfulfilling. I like to be challenged. I like to be scared. I like the possibility that I'm going to fail.
Have you ever failed?
Oh yes. I mean,
if you want to tell us, what was your?
I would let the viewers decide what constitutes a failure.
But I'm sure when you started out doing in this industry, I mean, when you were in school or whatnot, you had failures before you had success. Obviously, we all do. Do you remember a moment when you were just like, I can't, maybe this isn't for me?
I don't remember a moment where I ever thought that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I think at every stage of the game, I've been very sure that I'm in the line of work that makes me happy. So yeah, I mean, there've been times that I felt a little shaky about what about the content, and am I stepping up to the plate? Am I delivering? And but at no point have I ever felt like I was let's say in the wrong line of work.
Okay. So you had no discouragements as a youngin, where someone said your work was not up to par?
No, my parents were hugely supportive. I had great parents who both worked. God, they both worked 3 jobs apiece to put me through art school, the Rhode Island School of Design, because it was college is expensive, and we were not a high income family, and so they. My dad was teaching during the day and working as a butcher on the weekends at the grocery store,
Oh, wow.
and so they really stepped up and made it possible. So I had a lot of support. I came from a very small town, and I just remember the community being very encouraging and saying, "Hey, this kid wants to do this. Let's back him up, even if he's crazy."
Have we decided if you're crazy yet?
But well, we'll see how long this goes on.
All right, but you're not yet, so that's great. So if people know you very well, they know your work. I know you're more of a private person, but would there be 2 things that people would be surprised to know about you? Weird things you like to do or quirks?
My favorite movie is The Sound of Music. That would probably be something that would surprise people.
Yep.
Very sweet, saccharine story that I'm a big old time musical buff.
Yeah.
I can, my work can sometimes be cynical, but I'm also able to watch a heartfelt movie and get a little misty from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, I met you years ago. I'd only know Family Guy, and getting to know you over someone just called me. You're a true gentleman, and you introduced me to a lot of old films as well that I'd never had an opportunity to watch. So yeah, there's a real beating heart in there.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Cool.
What would another thing be? The Sound of Music.
God, let's see. I'm sort of an open book. I mean, I play the piano in the evenings. I'm a fan of old music. I try to be reading a book at any given time of the day or year. I've pretty much been chain reading book to book since I was 12 years old. I try to make sure I do a little reading every day before I go to sleep.
That's impressive. I'm lucky if I read a book a year. Terrible.
But yeah, I mean, gosh, I love peanut butter sandwiches. I mean, there's one.
All right, we'll go with that.
How interesting that is.
What book are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading a book by Michael Shermer called The Believing Brain, which I'm a big fan of his work. It's sort of an examination of why people believe what they believe, what leads people to believe in things like the supernatural, or what leads people to be religious, or what part of it is environmental and what part of it is evolutionary. It's real light stuff, little light reading at the end of the day.
Very light reading. Do you ever just do light reading? I know you're very into politics. We won't get into that, but
yes, I do from time to. Yeah, I mean, I can. Yeah, I mean, I can jump from a light novel to something sort of heavy. Okay. And enjoy both.
Okay, I'm going to start asking you silly questions. So what were you like in high school?
In high school, I was very much an introvert.
Is that what got you into the arts? Is that something?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, which wasn't, and that really hasn't changed. I still consider myself an introvert, but it's yeah. I mean, I was very focused on what I wanted to do, and I was pretty centered on getting there every step of the way, and yeah, I wasn't particularly gregarious. I wasn't particularly outgoing. I kind of kept to myself. I had my group of friends, but I was really focused on my passion, which was film and which was animation. And at the time there was very little information, sort of pre-internet, so you couldn't really go online and learn how to do something like make an animated film. So I had to, scour libraries and make phone calls and just kind of work with trial and error, and I was very focused. I wasn't a big sports guy. Did a lot of theater in school.
Incredible. Is that when you began singing?
I began singing when my parents signed me up for, if you can believe this, a church choir. I was actually in a church choir.
Is there footage of this that you'd like to share with people?
Thank God, no.
It's interesting that because I'm an introvert as well, and you say you're an introvert, but I think a lot of people would view you just from the outside as someone who's very outgoing. I mean, you host the Oscars. I mean, you're putting albums out. You seem like you're an extrovert.
Yeah, that's called alcohol.
Okay, I should try
that. That's alcohol can turn you
enough
from
of the green juice.
Introvert to an extrovert very quickly. Yeah, I tend to be a little just a little pleasantly lubricated before I do a live show, say like the Oscars or
yeah, you are always holding a drink.
Yeah. I've talked to legitimate musicians who say that they like a little whiskey before they go on stage, so I feel better about it. But yeah, that's a showmanship is a very specific kind of mindset, and I think you can be an introvert and kind of switch that on when you walk out onto a stage and switch it back off when you go home.
But do you mostly find that the only way for you to recharge, because you have long days on Orville and you're doing 12 million other projects, is the best way for you to unwind at home by yourself, or do you like to go out with friends? I mean, close friends?
It's a little of both. I try to make time for both. Generally, I probably lean towards the sitting on the couch with a book.
And the cats.
And cats. My cats. Yeah, my cats. I tend to fall asleep with a book in my hand pretty much every night, and that's a good night for me.
That is, yeah, that's nice.
But I it's a couple of times a week I try to force myself to go out and be social, which is sometimes a chore, but I think it's healthy.
I understand that. I understand.
I think it's very healthy.
So, okay, a couple more and then I'll let you go. There's like 51 questions here, guys. I'm not going to get to those because he's busy. But I'm sure they all say that they adore you. What music are you listening to right now? If it's not your own.
No, I'm not. I tend not to listen to my own music. I keep my iPod on shuffle. So I there's I don't know how many songs or different pieces of music I have in my iPod, but I tend to like to be surprised.
You still use an iPod, huh?
Well, whatever the hell you call it, iPhone, I mean, whatever. Yeah, got a collection of 45s. Yeah. But I look, I'm a big Sinatra fan. I love Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin. I love orchestral music. I'm a big film score nerd. John Williams, Jerry Goldsmith, James Horner. I'm there's a lot of that in my music collection.
So nothing really current appeals to you, or maybe in a certain mood it might.
There's a peppering.
Little peppering.
Current, like James Taylor, Billy Joel. I mean, that probably doesn't It's not what you're talking about, I don't think.
It's fine. Those are good answers. So what was the last thing that you recall Googling? I'm sure these are the most hard-hitting questions you've ever had.
Where are the paper towels?
Where are you Googled?
Yes.
Where are
Paper
the
towels are very hard to come by right now.
And what did it say? What do you recall?
It was of no help.
Okay. Well,
No help. I think it's just, I got to start weaving my own.
are you going out and getting supplies, or are you mostly stocked up and you're just hermiting?
I'm pretty well stocked up. I think there's a, within reason. I'm not a big panic buyer. I'm not a hoarder.
Right.
I think
Misinformation.
that's a huge problem right now. I have enough, for what I need and no more. But yeah, it's as I said, like we're all kind of navigating our way through this, and I think it's interesting. As much maligned as social media is for all of the trouble that it's caused and all the misinformation that it helps to disperse, it really is kind of saving a lot of people's mentalities right now. And FaceTime is not the same as being in a room with a person, but it's sure a hell of a lot better than no contact at all.
Yes, it is.
And it's it's interesting how this thing that I've criticized a lot myself has turned into something that is a nice little crutch in these times. And it's the only, for me, the only kind of hopeful thing that I keep going back to is pandemics have emerged throughout the course of history all over the world. This is the first time that I think we've seen something of this size, but there is historical precedent, and the good news is they do pass, and you have to be responsible, and you have to follow the CDC guidelines and the WHO guidelines, and you have to really unfortunately do that work, even if that means staying home, which right now it does. But they do pass, and a virus can be suffocated if you handle it responsibly. And so I know it's difficult for all of us to be home right now, but it is the one thing that has a shot of working, and a good shot.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
So there we are.
So do you need to go now?
I was going to go eat lunch.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having
coming
me
on, guys.
on your live talk show.
I'm not going to do this again. I think this is it. I can't do better than this. So.
All right. Well, take care, everybody.
Stay safe. Yep.
You
Sorry, guys, we didn't get to your questions.
All right. See you guys.
Bye. Okay. That was great. Yeah, sorry, there are so many questions that came in. Obviously, I understand a lot of you guys had questions for Seth, but that was wonderful. He took the time. We know how busy he is. So I'm going to leave it there, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and we'll do this again sometime. Maybe I'm done. I don't know. But thanks for tuning in, sending my love. Talk to you guys soon.